The story of a Nigerian American woman navigating through this thing called life. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unmet Expectation podcast. I am your host, Yasinde, and to the left of me, I have Mr. Donn Gordon in the building. How you doing, Donn?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Mr. Donn Gordon is a cybersecurity expert. He's of Antiguan descent. He is a gym rat, and I'm so glad that he's on today. I'm so glad that he finally has made it on. So yeah, we're just gonna chop it up today.
All right.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. And it's so I'm glad to be here.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, hold on. There's a little bit of an echo. Let me just see if I can fix that a bit. Hello? Okay, I think we're good.
Right.
So yeah, little technical difficulty there. It was a bit of an echo thing. So how are you feeling today? What's your mood like?
Well, my mood is pretty neutral. Just
Speak a little more.
okay. Yeah. Just I'm just glad to be here. Just glad to share the wealth, share the knowledge, and I'm here to emphasize any different areas, and I'm here to just bring the light, and be pretty much down to earth on this podcast.
Mm-hmm. I told him on here we're very authentic, we're very raw. There's no right or wrong anything. We just chop it up. He is very passionate about cybersecurity, which we'll get into in a little bit later. But Donn was actually over here last week. And I was ready to record, and he was just like, no, I'm busy. I just want to stop by and just meet you, because I've never met Donn. Last week was my first week of meeting Donn. So just to meet you, he wanted a rundown of everything. He's kind of one of those guys who likes to dot his T's, cross his T's, dot his I's. So he's that type of person. So we just, chop it up last week, got acquainted with one another, and we're here today. And I'm so glad he's on. Like I said earlier, he's of an Antiguan descent. He is Antiguan. He's an island boy. And he's a gym rat, and he loves everything cybersecurity. Yeah. So what have been some of your expectations throughout this thing called life? Some things that you were supposed, your family would have expected you to do X, Y, Z, but you didn't do it, or society expects you to do this, but you haven't done that. What are some of those expectations?
Right. Yeah.
That you've encountered or.
Right. Yeah. So I encountered some experience where my family wanted me to do really it's actually computer at a young age of 11, and that was their expectation, but even they expected me to do computers. I didn't have the the basic or the right information to start off learning of computers.
So what were you doing before? So what unmet expectation, but kind of a met expectation now, I would say, was that your parents have always kind of desired for you to get into the field of computer science or computers of some sort, right?
That's right.
So that's a met expectation. It happened later on in life, but I would like to ask you, what were you doing before you were in this cybersecurity arena?
Right. Yeah, I was working. My first job started as a Cinnabon when I came to America.
How old were you when you came here from Antigua?
I was actually 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
16,
Okay.
going into 17. And that was, hard knock life in that time, I could say.
Hard knock life?
Yeah, and it's working, in the retail customer service at a young age.
Where'd you work?
I work a company that it's in Montgomery Mall City in Bethesda, Montgomery Mall in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and in that mall they have a small booth where they sell these sweet, delicious Cinnabon
Oh,
Yeah.
you're working at Cinnabon?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes.
nice. Oh, I
Yes.
love a Cinnabon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 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 It was um, the recipe that they made was very tasty. You know, a lot of customers loves it. They have a great concept. So we was just on the front end, just delivering their product and making money for the company, and we just was that face figures, and it was just lovely, and we think we were shining, and that wasn't the the end goal. So
That was just a that
yeah,
was a
that's
landing
just
space for when you
yes,
first got here from Antigua.
yes.
So you went from selling Cinnabons to becoming a cybersecurity like expert. How did so you were working at Cinnabon? I'm pretty sure that was like maybe in high school, college, I'm assuming.
Right.
So what was your first like main job like that right before you started cybersecurity?
Well, my first main job right before I started security was I was driving these trucks after the Cinnabon. And I wanted to understand the transportation business just to kind of connect the dots in different logistics
Okay.
in around the United States. And that didn't land it too well. The business ethics was very different, different cultural in that business, and I didn't master that very well. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Uh, but I tried. Still wasn't my cup of tea. Um,
So you were a
and
CDL truck driver.
right,
So you had your
yes,
CDL license and you were driving like the big
yeah, the big
trucks.
truck,
Just
right.
logistics for a logistics company, I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was not something you were happy doing.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And it was it it actually challenging and it it put me more of an understanding of logistics in the United States of different food industries. How do we eat? Where the food come from?
Who were you working for? Who was your main?
Uh,
I'm assuming it was like a food
it
company. So,
Right. It was a company called Swift Transportation.
okay. I think I've
And
seen Swift on like the trucks, the big
right.
trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tough industry, I would say, to be in, especially if you don't have a mentor to training that business. So it was very tough at that time. And and I must say, as working in that industry, I still didn't lose sight of what my dad wanted me to do, as I
Okay.
mentioned with computer,
Yeah.
because I was still studying, taking online class while in the trucking industry. And that time, online college wasn't as big back
Right.
then.
Right.
Yeah, but
But it was still at the back. It was still something you desired. You still desired to do something with computers even while driving the trucks. So eventually, your career as a CDL truck driver ended, and then were you able to come back and focus on school a bit more and the
that yeah,
classes?
that is
Okay,
correct. Yeah, because the business industry it wasn't my cup of tea, so I had to close that down,
okay,
and I said I'm just
career
gonna
shift.
focus on that was a career shift. I'm gonna focus on my computer now since I completed a a small desktop support knowledge with which is an A plus, and I start to understand a little bit more about how a desktop and back in the days how computer connect. I actually just completely stopped and started applying for different jobs and
Okay,
went to college. Applying, went to college in New York.
okay. I hear the New York accent.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
What
was
part of
living
New
up
York
there.
did you live in?
I was living in Harlem,
Okay,
125th and Lenox. Yeah,
nice.
and I went to college, if I'm it's still I think it's still there if I'm correct. It's called TCI. It's further on Midtown where the post office is. I think on 34th Street. Um, but
Okay.
I can't remember exactly the street, but it's that's when I went there and learn a lot about networking
Right. So
in
you left
college.
this area to go to school in Harlem
That's yeah,
just for that in particular, just for like learning. It sounds like back in the day, so just desktops
yeah,
before like
yeah.
laptops were a thing. You were like hard on like really truly understanding the mechanics of a desktop, like what makes it up, how it works, how it's wired. So that's always kind of that's been your MO.
That yeah, yeah, and when I master it. I know how to break a computer down. I know how to pull a RAM driver out, pull a screen, clean it up, pull down a computer
Speaking
from
of that,
scratch.
like right before we started, like, because remember, I produce everything here. Like, I'm like, okay, Yasende, get the camera together, get the mics together. So I'm camera trying to figure out the camera. Yasende, why isn't the camera turning on? Why isn't the camera turning on? And Don was like, okay, what's the name of the model? Da da da. And whole time it wasn't plugged up, but that was my fault. It was just me being, but he was just really so into like even trying to help me figure it out. Like you were like looking at me like, let's figure it out. But the whole time it was just unplugged. But I could tell that's really a passion of yours. You like learning how to like make things work and fix things. So that's pretty cool. I
Right.
thought that was really, really cool.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm an engineer. And
Engineer.
yeah. I like to develop my own concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been we're in 2024, so you've seen the evolution of just cybersecurity in general because the concept of cybersecurity is a fairly new thing. I'm talking like maybe 10 years or less. Can you define what is cybersecurity? Like if you could just give me one flat definition of cybersecurity, what is cybersecurity?
Right. Yeah. So cybersecurity is basically a components of different uh, device, IoT, and
IoT is
yes,
it's
Internet of Things,
okay. Okay.
and in relation to that, um, what it is, it's all connected into uh, which is called through the internet, and each connected to these devices. Then each device have to connect to another device in order to relate back and forth messages, and as it connect to different IP address, every network and every software component, it becomes which we use back in the days. We call it information assurance. That's what they used to call it, but now they call it cyber because everything is working together. And
Got it.
now as the word security, now they realize that these software and devices, they all correlate the same. They may have different names, but they all work together in security purposes. So when you put cybersecurity together, what is cybersecurity? Is basically a cyber of many different devices, which have different software and hardware in their security, and basically in that component there will be a dysfunction of probability where it can be compromised from any different areas.
Okay, so when I think of cybersecurity, I don't know why, but I think of like the internet. I think of like the cloud, and based on what you're saying, it's different aspects of like the cloud, the internet, like the laptop, just everything kind of working together. And then cybersecurity, I guess, is the protection of all of those components together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so basically what you do is make sure that as we're logging onto our computer, as we're in the cloud, as we're whatever, that it's just ensuring that all of them are working together. Is it like a protection mechanism when you say cybersecurity?
Yes, yes, it's a
Okay.
protection mechanism, and these protection mechanism, you have organizations, whether it's federal or private, they use these components inside and use them for whatever business purposes.
Okay.
And by using these software appliances and devices, that it has to be protected.
So cybersecurity is also, when I think of cybersecurity, I think of like software as well. So
Yes.
there's like cybersecurity software. So things that are like in this MacBook and your PC, things that are you purchase or that are automatically in them to ensure that they are protected.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, an
Okay.
organization use that, and
The
they have to be
organizations use them.
protected from
Okay.
from cyber threats.
Okay.
Or from yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's a lot of protection going on to ensure that, which is kind of scary because now we're moving into like the whole AI thing, which is
Right.
really, really, really crazy. And I just feel like there's so many scams going on. A lot of people's information's being compromised. I mean, can you give us like tips and tricks to ensure that we are protecting and saving, like making sure our documents are safe, our laptops are safe, our phone are safe, or is it even safe? Like, what do you, some like, I don't know, because you're the expert. So what do you do to protect your stuff? Give us some tips and tricks.
Right. Tips and trips is pretty simple. You just go back in the old days, and you live the Flintstone days.
The
Because
Flintstone days.
yes, because the
Okay.
Flintstone days they didn't have
Right.
devices, so these devices is not stored on computers. So if you have AI, in order for AI to become AI 1, AI 2, or Chat GPT 2, Chat GPT 3, Chat GPT 4, Chat GPT 5, you have to insert data inside,
Yes.
and by
Yes.
inserting data inside, somebody else understand how a human being wants to receive information, so they take that data and grab it to another source and understand how the human being related to, and they store that, and
Wow.
whenever the human being go back, they understand the behavior of the human being. So Chat GPT 4 turns Chat GPT 5, and as data keeps feeding into Chat GPT or any different device,
Oh God, Chat
computer
GPT, Chat GPT.
computer
I've been hearing
computer
about it. What is Chat GPT, please?
yeah, it's actually a software um, which it pulls data from any given source, and you could ask Chat GPT any questions, and it will give you an answer back. For an instance, it's more so like Google on steroids.
It sounds dangerous. Is this like an AI tool as well?
Yes, it's an AI tool. Yes, it's
Oh
still
man.
it you could say yes, but also it's a great research tool to do research. So as you so we have to be responsible of what we're ingesting into these
Yeah.
hardware and
Yeah.
software, and able to protect basically information, or I should say the the future of technology. So
Yeah.
we are responsible for protecting
Right.
AI.
So, first piece of advice, go back and live like the Flintstones. Don't put anything on the internet or into any of these any laptops, phones, and that you don't want. But then we have to. Like, we can't really truly live
We
like we're
well we
Flintstones.
actually don't, because what happened, we fall in love with those devices. Is what the I see, whatever the I see that I want. So if you
Yes.
were to get pick up a a great habit of writing information down on a piece of paper and store it safely, uh, not 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 for example, not a password on a piece of paper, um, you, but if you were to put, let's say for example, uh, you can't, basic 101, you can't put a 8 characters password on a piece of paper. They want you to store it in, either of what in your head. Um, so
So don't store
So
passwords like on papers and stuff like that. That's a good piece of it. You're saying it, just remember. A lot of people write their passwords down though.
right.
So
So
you can't.
right, exactly. So and for that, because that's used with technology because of the security. So basically we have to basically not I should use a better word, not actually uses more of the hardware and software. Be less prone to not using the software and hardware, and and but and use a lot more of I would like to say more of a fundamental of funds, and that's if that makes sense.
What do you mean by
Meaning
that?
as you don't want to be connected to your phone a lot. You don't want to be connected to your laptop. You could find a niche, which they always a niche in laptops, always a niche in phone. You could find a different way of not using a laptop or not using a phone and still connect to the world.
Put the phone down. Put the
Uh,
laptops down. I think that's what he's saying. I think we need to connect more with each other.
right,
Like, I think it's inevitable. Your information is going to be out there, your SSN, but I think the less that we put your phone down, put your laptop down, more human interaction. That way we can kind of avoid accidents or think, those, what are they called? Scammers, I guess, or like those people encrypt all that stuff. Just less. I think human interactions more. That's a good tip to track. Like, interact more. Get off your phone less. More human interaction.
right,
Less scrolling.
right,
More human interaction.
right. Yeah. So the
Okay.
more we like connect or speak to each human more, the less we use technology, and technology don't be advancing more, because you would have some days people would just randomly just not speak to you. They could just talk to you on a computer or text you because of the technology now these days. You don't need to talk to
Gosh,
people
yeah.
in front. You
It's
just use the
consuming.
technology, but we need human interaction, and it's very important. And
Yeah.
we now not using what we have in front of us
Yeah.
and forgetting about how important human is.
Interaction is. I
Yes.
was I was listening to the radio the other day, and they were saying that I think on average people spend about 8 hours, 7 hours a day on their phone, and I thought that was kind of low because there's 24 hours in a day, so 7 hours. I feel like it's way more than that, but I guess there's a range. But even that within itself, it's crazy. 7 hours is a lot of time
Yeah.
a day. Nah, screen time, no. And just imagine what it's doing to our brains. But I also think there's like it's an addiction. I think for some of us, it's become an addiction. And you have to be very cognizant and catch yourself. Like when I find myself scrolling too much, I'm like, you got to be like, no, like, let me go do something else, right? Let's get some human interaction going. Like, let's come on now, get off the phone and let's go back to the basics. But I think, like you said, that's really good, kind of living like in a stone age like the Flintstones. But I think it's inevitable we're gonna be on our phone and put things in there, but the
Right.
less we do it, the better.
Right. And you could say that the history is repeating himself, and sometimes a man can't understand certain science and physics of how, for example, Moses or certain names in the Bible, how they do things or create things, because technology have a hard time discovering it. So, but we're not sure if technology was using back then, and we want to know the word how are they using it to be advanced more than our world today.
Yeah.
So if we were to focus more about human interaction,
Yes.
we could more of changing the world. It could be more of a peace
Yeah.
instead of using more of technology, because
Yeah.
back in the days they use more of creativity by their hands, using more of their brains
Yes.
to do more of a lot of heavy trade work, building homes, building different mechanical devices to use on today's world to
Right.
build up towers and Egyptians. So they didn't use the word technology. It's a
Yes.
different word that they uses and a different device that they use
But
to
they were,
build these
but they,
Egyptians.
right, but they were still very, very progressive. You spoke about human interaction and the importance of that. You have a baby. You're recently like somewhat of a new dad.
Yeah.
How has that changed your life? And congratulations. I know it's been a while, but congratulations on becoming a dad.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to ensure that? Because now they're giving the babies tablets and things to kind of keep them occupied and busy. How do you, what do you do? Do you give your baby tablet or
Yeah,
what do you
yes,
do?
I do that. We do. It's trials and errors, and man master and find that tablets do work, and sometimes tablet don't work. But sometimes it may not work for different people, and that's people preference. And you could choose not to take it or not to take it, but we try to make it safely as possible to harm human being. But in regarding to being a dad is it definitely changed my life, and it's a responsible task, and you have to make sure that um, uh, you have a job 365 days, and you dare to do above and beyond and be ready for um, any bumpy road, and to be able to uh, overcome the bumpy road as quickly as possible, and keep providing, and be a figure, and
Lead by
lead
example.
by. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, congrats again.
Thank you.
And where do you foresee the future of cybersecurity?
Yeah, I see the future as AI taking over, and it's actually going to be managed with a one console where we get the answer from a robotic machine, and less people, a little people not going to be caught up with the AI technology, because it's more of a machine going to be doing more of the work. And but going forward, they still needed security, and humans still need to test. Human need to look at the robotics when they're downgrading or reboot. So it's a more going to be not many of us uh, connected to looking at and fixing the AI, and uh, people. It's going to be so expensive to learn AI that we are not going to able to catch up to it,
Wow. So
and the
AI is going to be super advanced, and if you
yeah,
foresee it
and
being
the
just
economy could be devastated, because it's actually a self-driven component that don't need any human being taking, using it. Yeah.
how do we combat that though? Is there any way around it? Because especially over the past, I would say three years, I would say 2 years, AI, artificial intelligence, and it's like taking over, which, and like you said, is a quite a scary concept.
Yeah, sometimes they say if you can't beat them, join them. So, and
I don't know if I want to join that.
yeah, and it's the life that we live, and you have to not do the ethical AI, and learn the ethical way.
The ethical way,
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure there are going to be some very unethical ways AI is
yeah,
handled in
yeah,
this society. It's going to be, which could be very detrimental.
yeah.
So I'm very curious to see this whole AI and the evolution. So there's obviously a link between cybersecurity and AI. And are you even saying that AI is going to take over cybersecurity
Uh,
element of that, or
Yeah,
what
and
is
it's already
that?
started, yes, and but yeah, but there's a but, and there's always a but, and it's going to be little human managing the operation in AI. Yeah,
Wow. and just more just like artificial intelligence, like a random, like the concept of AI to me is so bizarre. Like I can't even, like I don't understand it fully, and I think a lot of people are still very curious about it. But I think it also is going to be very detrimental to our society if we don't get a hold of it. And a lot of people are going to be bamboozled and fooled by, yeah, it's going to be more than what meets the human eye, which is crazy. But yeah, wow. So AI is the future. Where do you foresee yourself in the next maybe 5 to 6, 7 years? Since AI might possibly take over cybersecurity, where do you envision yourself and like your company? Because you have a cybersecurity business as well. If you want to talk about that a bit.
Yeah, yeah, we're actually gonna be branching off to Dubai and China to basically sell our software, where AI is ingested inside that software,
Okay.
where it could use on any different type of device safely and protectively, and consumers could use that across the world.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
So
foresee yourself selling AI, I
A-
guess, what do you call it?
AI language in our
AI
software.
language and software
Yeah.
to develop to different companies in the
Yes.
near future. Well, I pray that works out for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's nothing too spooky because the whole concept of AI is blows my mind. Okay, as we're wrapping things up, what would be the best piece of advice, or what would you tell your 21-year-old self based on what you know today?
Right.
Looking back, your
So
journey, how you've navigated things, what would you tell a 21-year-old Donn Gordon based on what you know today?
right. First thing first, you have to make sure that you master, find what you're not good at when you're 21, and what you're good at. Um, um, and when you find what you're good at, you stick to it, and you run with it. Go 100 mile an hour. Take it with a passion, and master it. Because when you put your mind to it, it imagine how fast the mind moves. It changes things when you put your mind to it. And when you master it,
Yeah.
you could do great things at no given age. Doesn't matter if you're 20, you at 21, and at 22 you stumble on an invention, or you be the greatest basketball player at 22 because you master it. So it doesn't have any age. It's just a passion that you love, and you become that passion, or you become the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of what you're doing, you become the product, and you are the product that are working on this earth to change
Yeah.
another world of children's.
Wow. So that's an awesome that's actually a really good piece of advice. Find what you're really good at and stick to it and hone in on it. Because imagine someone said this the other day, and it's like not breaking news, but it was like, imagine getting paid for your passion. Like that is so cool. And I feel like you're living in that. You love computers, you love cybersecurity, and that's what you do day in and day out. And it's almost like a full circle moment for you because it's something that your parents kind of have always desired you to do, and that's something you've always been good at. And for you to be living in that is you're living in an answered prayer. God is good. So I love that. I love that. Find what you're good at it, focus on it, and go hard. Go hard. I know earlier, so last week you were like, oh yeah, I don't listen to music. I just kind of, but I'm a music head. I love music. Music is life to me. So you're going to have to give me a song. What are we listening to at any given
Wow.
time? What's on repeat? What were you listening to here on the way here? What could we hear Donn Gordon listening to?
I didn't put it in my head to have a buzz music word, but I could just be just um, pretty much call it off the top of my head what I was listening to on my way. It's basically Jay-Z, Nas, and Mary J. Blige. So it could
All the
keep
New
going on.
Yorkers.
R&B, raps, different
Okay.
musician, and any different music I will listen to. It's I just music is basically just it's it change your mood, change
Yeah.
your mind. So any music is basically could just put you in a given space, and I actually haven't find a good music from I would like to say the word good music, because all music to me are basically good. So I haven't find a one that I really love. It's really I just like to hear the word. I like to hear the song. I like to hear the music.
Yeah.
Just to get move my energy, keep my flow.
Yeah.
So just playing different music, and it just it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think Bob Marley said it. He was like, the great thing about music is once it hits you, you feel no pain. I
Right.
think that's really dope. He did
Right.
say that. Bob Marley was the one
Right.
who said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, music is life for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Don, for coming on. This is good. I'm glad that we were able to chop it up and talk a bit. Thank you all for tuning into this episode. Keep the questions, comments, dilemmas pertaining to anything about life. Send them into the unmetexpectation@gmail.com. I'm going to sit down, go through them, and just kind of just give my 2 cents, because that segment, my 2 cents. I'm going to give my 2 cents on some of y'all's questions, dilemmas, and yeah. Thank you all so much for joining in, for
Thank you.
tuning in, and we out.
All right.
Bye.